What you don't believe Jesus is Lord over, the thing will not respect your Jesus in you. Jesus will not be Lord over everything. He will be Lord over the things you know he is Lord over. So many of us believe that Jesus is Lord over us, but we don't believe that he is Lord over the CEO that is going to interview you. You don't believe that he is Lord over HIV virus. You don't believe it, but you believe he's your Lord. This is the reason why some of us are having dominions over certain things, and the same people, others too that profess Jesus, are not having dominion over those things, because it takes time to grow your faith to a point that you accept that Jesus is Lord. It's not enough to present your challenge to him. In presenting your challenge to Jesus, it must be backed with an understanding and a faith that Jesus, you have power over this thing. They that know their God shall be strong, and they shall do exploits. If you read that chapter in context, he was talking about the days of the Antichrist, when deception will be all over the world, and even God's elect will fall for the deception. But he said the difference will be among God's elect, those that know their God. So it's possible to be a Christian, but you don't know the Lord of Christianity. It's possible, and there are many of us like that. We know the name of our churches, we can debate about it. We know the name of pastors, we can debate about them, but never know and understand the Lord. Power begins when you know the source of power. His name is Jesus, and then you can redefine him for yourself. There are many preachers who preach Jesus, but they gathered information from different places and preached him, and their hearts have not yet been convicted about even the one that they are preaching. And so are many believers running to church but don't even understand the authority of the one that they worship. The sea will never obey you if you don't know the Lord over the sea. Sicknesses will never obey you if you don't know the Lord over sicknesses. If there is any prayer that you have to pray, you have to pray like that of Apostle Paul, that I may know you. This is a man who have written deep epistles about Jesus, but at the point in time he knew that his limitation in the flow of the kingdom is connected to how much of the knowledge he has about Jesus. He said that I may know you. Everything that you will ever approach in this life will ask you to explain your God to them. That is why one of the smartest men in the Bible was Moses. If I go and they ask me who sent you, what do I say? Don't think that you will just tell cancer to come out and it will go. He will ask you who sent you. You must be able to explain your God. Jesus said, what do men say I am? And he had more than 5 people telling him who men are saying that he is. But the next question is, what do you say that I am? And he had only one. Only one with the conviction about who he really is. Many of us know everything about the relationship between other pastors and God, and we can keep talking about it. Sometimes the whole sermon is about how can the Tegan met God, how can the Koblan did this, how Bishop Idahosa did that, how Bishop this they did that, how Bishop did that. But if you ask the person, where is your own encounter? He doesn't have it. Apostle Paul told the people of Athens, he said, I saw an inscription on your temple, to the God unknown. To the God unknown. He said, but this God, if you will seek him, you will feel him and you'll be found of him. Unfortunately, he's everywhere, but he will not be revealed to everyone until you step into a time where you want to know him. You want to know him more than things. You want to know him more than the things he has. You want to have an encounter with him. He said, that which our eyes have seen, which our ears have heard, and our hands have handled, do we speak to you? He said that it is him we have fellowship with. The one that we fellowship with. He's like a substance to us. Our hands have handled him. The question is that who is our God to us? If you live here right now and the fetish priest meet you and say, I will kill you, do you know the God you just came to worship? Who said that you will come down in life? Who said you will crash? Do you know the God that wants to help you? The issue is that we don't know him. Many of us has connected his greatness to the sea. We have connected his greatness to the sun. We have connected his greatness to testimonies. We have connected his greatness to one or two miracles here and there, until I saw something in my Bible and I realized that, so God, this God I've been talking about all this while, is bigger than these things. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. So you are not God because you made mountains. You are not God because you made the sea. That is why we got it all wrong when we started singing, when I look at the mountains, I look at the valleys, I look at the sea, oh my God, you are Lord. The Bible says before the mountains he was God. That means if you connect his greatness to mountain, you are demeaning him. He was God before he made mountains. So actually what makes him God is nothing we see on earth. What makes him great is nothing we see on earth. So in other words, if I want to believe him, I'm believing him above anything I see or hear. So you can't believe him because the sun has been hanging. The Bible says that ever before the sun was made, he was God. So the sun didn't add up to his reputation. The mountains are only an effect of his power. It didn't actually add up to his power. So we can't describe his authority and power by the mountains he made. We can't describe his authority and power by the miracles he does. We must find a way to describe him beyond these things. And how can this be except by revelation? When he himself decides to reveal himself. So Apostle Paul got a glimpse of it after he has prayed that, hey, that I may know him. Then God opened his eyes and he saw that this God is dwelling in unapproachable light. He says that a place where no man has been and no man will ever be, he said that is where he dwells. That's the kind of God we serve. He's bigger. The God we serve. Listen to me. Don't live here and think that tuberculosis cannot respond. Job 42 verse 5. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes have seen thee. It is this same chapter that a story changed. If you keep hearing people's testimonies, it's powerful, but you have to see the God. You have to know him for yourself. It is after he saw him that the Bible said that God gave him a double. Verses will tell you what happened to him when he saw him. Wherefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. The moment he saw God, he took himself out of the picture. He started hating himself. He took his limitations out of the picture. He took his doubts out of the picture. The moment he saw God, he knew he has messed up. All this while, he was thinking about his source, thinking about his problem, thinking about how big and how his challenge is. He was thinking about how it's impossible to break out of what he was going through, until he saw him. Suddenly, he stepped out. That this God is in the realm of himself. Suddenly, the problem he was going through, God gave him a double honor. If today you can remove your eyes from yourself and see your God, I see him visiting you with a double honor. I see him visiting you with a double honor. Clap your hands and shout, I receive it. There are times that when you keep looking at yourself, you will magnify your problem to a point that God will become very little, and you may offend him. You have been hearing, now may the eyes of your understanding be open. He said that I may see him. It's an emergency if you can't see who God is. It's an emergency. And about 90% of Christians don't know their God. The greatest challenge of our day is that people know their problems more than their God. Jesus, I know. They are operating in a fraternity of their own. I know them. You, who are you? I thought I had Kasan Semuya, Obisi Pentem Shemen, come in a chain way. At the Gruntia Bay, 4 do Yami say, Wouldn't Munyami. You need to understand the ways of your God. You need to understand the voice of God. You need to hear his voice. When he shows up, you must see. And everybody that knows me from the 10th to now, I've not changed my convictions that Christianity is not about pray for me, it's about having God and living him. There are some of you, there's a language God is communicating with you, you are not getting it. That's why that challenge is not going. There's a message coming from heaven, you don't get it. There's a direction coming, you don't get, because you don't even know your God. You are not different from Samuel. God is calling him, but he can't even recognize the voice. And as long as Samuel, you will respond that God speak, I won't stop speaking. Have you ever seen that somebody disturbing you, mention your name, and yet will not say anything? In other words, I'll keep on mentioning your name until you understand that I'm the God I'm calling you. Some of you must cry on God that God, give me that revelation that will let me conquer my world with Jesus. Men have come and go who conquered the world with Jesus. Why are you not conquering with him? Why are you still struggling though you say you have him? There's a difference. You've not yet come to a realization of his lordship. Not until you know that the heart of a king is in the hands of God. Every king you meet will bully you. Though you may be a child of God, every king you meet, every important person, any human being you meet will bully you, because you have not yet accepted it. Tonight may your heart be opened. One of the major things that took part in us surviving in Ofanko was a certain revelation I had that God is with me. I'm telling you. It may sound like, because you love to see people fasting, you love to see people praying, you love to see that, but what you don't know is that about 60% of the power that flows through a man is as a result of his understanding into the God he serves. That is why when we were building and the man sent his people here, if it was to be another pastor, he would tell you that don't let him enter. They are coming to fight you. They are coming to do this. That time this building was uncompleted. The one that says this area no church should be built sent his sons one afternoon open that our father says we should come and see what you are doing. I took them here, showed them this is the pulpit. I'm out there. When you finish, come. They spent over 20 minutes here. Whatever they came to do, I don't know. They spent over 20 minutes here. Indeed, they have track records of the number of churches they've collapsed in this area. But one came who did not trust in himself. Yes, if you tell me to explain my life, I can't. No, I can't. But if you tell me to talk about my God, if you tell me to give you my I can't put words together. I serve a God. But I'm just telling you how God can keep on revealing himself and let you know who he is to you. When you meet Abraham will tell you that I serve the God called El Shaddai, because he revealed himself as El Shaddai. He told Moses that your God, your fathers did not know me by Jehovah, but you, I reveal myself to you as Jehovah. If you meet Gideon and you ask him which kind of God you serve, he will tell you I serve Jehovah Shalom, because that is how he revealed himself to Gideon. God is ready to show you something about himself. if you are ready to call on him. And that is the thing that will give you advantage in your age and in your time. Many of us don't understand this. We are Christians, all right, but we don't know our advantages in this life.